Welcome to the AI for Career Success podcast by Curt Robbins, where we help you get smarter than your competition. I'm Fred Jones.
And I'm Daphne Blake.
This is episode 176.
It is. And today we're following up on a really fascinating suggestion from our producer, Curt Robbins. We're going to be looking at the fundamental weirdness of modern artificial intelligence.
Right. We're asking, how can AI be superhumanly brilliant at some things and yet still fail at tasks that seem completely basic?
It's a great question.
We're exploring what's been called the Jagged Frontier of AI ability.
Mm.
And the foundational ideas for this come from a really critical piece by Ethan Mollick. It's called The Shape of AI, Jaggedness, Bottlenecks, and Salients. And it was published back on December 20th, 2025.
So our mission today is to really understand why this unevenness, this jaggedness, doesn't just create problems. It actually creates massive specialized opportunities for all of us, as working professional.
It's the key to knowing where automation stops and I guess where human value really begins. Okay, let's unpack this. When we talk about the Jagged Frontier, we're talking about a concept that, well, it emerged pretty quickly around 2023.
Right.
It describes this truly bizarre ability of AI to be, superhuman at tasks we once thought were the absolute peak of human intelligence.
Things like advanced medical diagnosis or complex organic chemistry.
Or solving really difficult differential equations, stuff like that.
Exactly. It can perform these huge intellectual leaps, but then that exact same model just struggles with things that a 5-year-old can handle.
Like visual perception puzzles or even just running a vending machine. It completely breaks our intuition about what's hard and what's easy.
Right, it really does.
So you've got this paradox. A system that can synthesize 20 years of cardiology research, but can't reliably figure out how to get a bag of chips from a machine. So I have to ask, isn't this just a temporary training issue?
That's a great question. And what Mollick's sources suggest is, well, no, not entirely. The frontier is very jagged, and it is likely to stay that way, which, it reinforces this need for what's called co-intelligence.
Co-intelligence, meaning humans and AI working together.
Yes, complementing each other, not replacing each other entirely.
Okay, so if AI is getting better so fast across the board, why is this jaggedness so stubborn?
Well, scientists have been mapping the shape of AI's abilities, and they've found that while reading, math, and general reasoning are improving incredibly fast.
That exponential curve.
Right. But one major source of this jaggedness is highly persistent, and that's memory.
Memory, specifically for the large language models we all use every day. Why does that matter for my professional workflow?
Because these LLMs, they really struggle to permanently integrate new information. They don't truly learn from every single interaction.
So they're great at retrieving what they were trained on.
But they often forget instructions you gave them in a prior session, or even, long detailed instructions from just 10 minutes ago in the same session.
So it's not just a technical problem, it's a productivity problem. If I train an AI assistant on my company's data for 2 hours, I expect it to remember that tomorrow.
Exactly. But it won't. You have to constantly retrain or reload that context. That lack of permanent dynamic memory is a profound weakness.
And it prevents full automation.
Right. No matter how smart the model seems in other areas, it creates that critical edge where human oversight is always needed.
And this memory flaw and any other, subhuman ability, this is what immediately creates bottlenecks.
A system is only as functional as its weakest component.
And even a tiny bit of that jaggedness can bring a huge process to a complete halt.
Right. And we see two main kinds of bottlenecks emerging from this. The first is what we can call the ability bottleneck, which is purely technical. The AI just can't do the job to human standards.
Like hallucinations. They still persist, meaning you can't trust an AI with tasks that need 100% factual accuracy.
Exactly. Even if it's 99% accurate on everything else. Or, let's say you're in the medical field. The LLM vision might be fantastic at spotting general trends,
Sure.
but it might not be quite good enough to accurately see subtle things in complex medical imaging. That tiny 1% difference prevents it from fully replacing a radiologist.
And the second type, the process or institutional bottleneck. That one's often more surprising, isn't it?
It is, because here the constraint isn't the AI's intelligence. It's the friction of the real world.
Meaning?
Well, if AI can now speed up drug discovery tenfold, identifying great candidates in hours instead of months, the bottleneck doesn't just disappear, it just shifts.
So the new constraint becomes the human clinical trials, patient recruitment, the whole FDA review process.
Exactly. The intelligence is fast, but the institution moves at institution speed.
We have a really striking specific detail on this from the source material. It's the Cochrane Review study. It illustrates this perfectly.
Oh, yeah. Cochrane reviews are these massive, systematic meta-studies. They require synthesizing just mountains of medical literature.
A huge job for humans.
A huge job. So a team tested GPT 4.1, and they found that when it was supported with the right tools, it reproduced and updated an entire issue of Cochrane Reviews, 12 massive studies in just 2 days.
2 days. Just to give you a sense of scale, that kind of work traditionally represents about 12 work years of human effort.
It's incredible. The AI screened over 146,000 citations and actually outperformed the human reviewers on accuracy. The hard intellectual lift was solidly inside the frontier.
Okay, so here's the question. What was the bottleneck? Why wasn't it fully automated?
This is the perfect example. The AI couldn't access supplementary files that were, held offline.
Okay.
And it couldn't email the original research authors to ask for unpublished data points.
So these tiny little human edge cases,
Yeah.
maybe less than 1% of the potential errors.
But they are absolutely essential for a rigorous scientific review. They prevent full automation. So you have 12 work years compressed into 2 days, but that critical 1% still requires a human expert.
It's an interesting tension. The efficiency gain is staggering, but it highlights just how valuable that human ability to handle the edge cases has become.
Let's take a brief break for a special message from our producer, Curt Robbins.
Hi, this is Curt Robbins. First, thanks for listening. I truly appreciate your support. I want to let you know that I'm currently accepting new clients. My rates are affordable, and I have more than 25 years of experience working for enterprise companies like Microsoft, Northrop Grumman, Oracle, PNC Bank, FedEx, USAA, and Wells Fargo, among many others. If you want to improve your IT documentation and communications, hire me. I deliver fast, know how to use AI to improve efficiency and accuracy, and love going the extra mile to satisfy my clients. Thank you for subscribing and listening. Back to you, Daphne and Fred.
Welcome back to the AI for Career Success podcast. Before the break, we were discussing how the Jagged Frontier concentrates effort on bottlenecks and this pressure. This is what drives those massive, sudden changes in what AI can do.
This is where we bring in the concept of reverse salience. It comes from the historian Thomas Hughes, who studied these huge technological systems like electrical grids.
Okay.
And he noted that progress would often stall, held back by just a single technical or social problem, that one weak spot that was the reverse salient.
And when an AI lab fixes that single weakness, the whole system just lurches ahead.
Exactly. And we've seen a great contemporary example of this happening very recently in the visual creative space.
You're talking about Google's new generation AI, Nano Banana Pro.
Yep.
As the name sounds silly.
The name is very silly.
But the impact isn't.
Not at all. The Nano Banana Pro model successfully combined a powerful image creation tool with the high-level reasoning of the Gemini model. And what broke was the visual quality bottleneck.
The thing that had been holding back AI for professional communication.
Precisely. Let's look at how this impacts something every professional does.
Yeah.
Making a presentation.
Right. AIs were already great at the hard part. Summarizing complex material, structuring an argument, even writing the code for a basic PowerPoint. But the slides were always so bland.
Stiff and obviously automated. The intelligence was there, but the execution was just stale. The visual execution was that reverse salient.
So now, with these modern systems, the AI doesn't write code for a dull template. It generates each slide as a single, flexible, high-quality image.
Right. You can prompt the system for themes. You could say, make a presentation on market disruption in the style of, 1980s punk flyers.
Or a deck on sustainable growth that uses an elegant, hand-drawn naturalist theme.
And the visual quality bottleneck was fixed. And when that reverse salient broke, the entire capability of AI to produce high-value, usable documents, it lurched forward basically overnight.
So if AI can now be superhuman at analysis and create these visually complex presentations, does this finally mean it's full substitution for consultants and graphic designers?
The answer, anchored in the reality of the Jagged Frontier, is still a very definitive no.
Why not?
Because professionals rarely perform just a single smooth task. They do a sequence of tasks that span across that uneven frontier. AI might create the strategy and the deck, but there are vital steps it still struggles with.
We've talked about the technical edges, but what about the human edges? What are those enduring professional tasks?
First, there's institutional navigation. The AI does not understand unwritten company culture or who needs to be won over or the internal politics you need to navigate to get buy-in.
Right. And then there's the data collection edge. The AI can analyze, but a human still has to go out and collect the messy, proprietary qualitative data to ground that analysis.
Absolutely. And finally, and maybe most importantly, there's uniqueness and differentiation.
Escaping the consensus.
Exactly. As AI generates this flood of high-quality content, the human job shifts from creation to curation and originality. The value is in making something truly unique that stands out from the AI-generated median.
So this means the Jagged Frontier is creating new, essential human roles. We're not being replaced by AI. We're being replaced by people who can manage AI across those jagged edges.
Think about the emerging skill sets. You need the bottleneck analyst who can identify where that human-AI friction is highest. You need the AI translator.
Someone who can explain the technical limits to a non-technical manager.
Yes, and most importantly, you need the edge case manager, the human who handles that 1% of errors that prevents 100% automation.
So the career opportunity isn't just learning how to prompt an AI. It's learning how to manage that boundary between AI capability and human institutional reality.
That's the core advice we want to leave you with. If you want to understand where AI is headed in your career field, don't just watch the general performance benchmarks. They can be misleading.
Watch the bottlenecks.
Watch the bottlenecks. When one breaks, expect a sudden lurch forward in that professional area. We saw the visual bottleneck break, and it transformed communication tools.
So we should be thinking about what the next major reverse salient might be.
Is it memory? The ability for models to learn permanently? Is it the ability to take sophisticated physical actions in the real world? Or is it breaking through regulatory bottlenecks?
Because those are the next lurches we need to prepare for.
That's right. Because the Jagged Frontier ensures that every lurch forward leaves yet more and often more valuable edges where humans are absolutely needed.
Thank you for listening to the AI for Career Success podcast from Curt Robbins, where we help you get smarter than your competition. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share. We'll see you next time.